Good evening, everyone. Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central, Outlawed Live with myself, Ron Stone, and my distinguished guest, not extinguished. You're not on fire.
Extinguished, distinguished, relinquished, something.
You're not on fire. I mean, maybe you are on fire, but distinguished. I knew that sounded wrong coming out of the gate there, but Mike Idle out of Bevier, Missouri. So welcome, everyone. It's Tuesday night again. We're going to be talking about a few things tonight. We're going to talk about Outlaw TV. We're going to be talking about Mike's new weekly series, When the Smoke Clears. We're going to be talking about the schedule, anything and everything Outlaw pulling. I know there's still some questions on the schedule. We're trying to get things cinched up, but bear with us. Here in a week or two, we will have a final schedule. I promise you. That's a good-looking banner you got behind you there, Mike.
I am outlawed up, man. I've got the hat. I've got my little tin sign I got from the banquet. And then, most importantly, you want to talk about distinguished. We've got the official, no signatures on this one. This one wasn't given away. This one was sent directly in the mail. But, yeah, the nice vinyl banner courtesy of Ron Stone himself. Hey, if I'm not pushing the brand right now, I don't know. Kurt Van Beek's got to be proud. We've got the whole Outlaw stamped everywhere.
Were you impressed by how small a package I was able to put that in?
Okay, so legitimately, I was not convinced you did that. I am picturing all the gals at the United States Postal Service and they're folding it and everything. That guys, it fit in my mailbox. I'd been checking my front porch for the better part of the week, thinking, okay, this thing's going to be in there. You got this thing down to, flat rate.
I'm very frugal when it comes to shipping. Shipping stuff out for like the contests the last couple of years and things like that. The tubes, when you roll them out and they put them in a tube for some reason, that's like gold, and it's like super expensive to ship a tube like a poster. So I just started folding them and putting them in a USPS package and sending them out as much cheaper. So it did come back one time, but it finally got there this time. So no worries.
Yeah, we're up and running. I think next time I'm going to move it. I always get reversed here. I'm going to move it that way a little bit. We're going to shift it over. Right now, my noggin's covering up the big, beautiful Outlaw signage we've got right there. So we'll move that over a little bit. But, Ron, you read my mind. You're right. There's a lot of fun stuff to unpack tonight, kind of like unpacking that banner. A lot of fun stuff to unpack. The schedule's floating around. Well, I think the schedule is on the website now, and that's as close to official as we've got. Outlawpulling.tv dropped some major news this week. Yeah. We're getting close to pull time, and we're going to talk a little. We're going to let the smoke clear, and we've got some neat stuff that the great folks at the Beer Money Pulling team have been putting together, and we're going to unveil this week's featured driver on When the Smoke Clears. I didn't check the comments. I posted a teaser today. I wanted to see if anybody guessed it. And then I got busy and forgot to check the comments.
Kind of open-ended. I mean, that didn't narrow it down much for me.
Hey, we know we can rule out every supercharged driver. We can rule out any naturally aspirated. It gets you in the ballpark. But
true.
If you pay close attention, you might see a little. You might have to think about decals and designs. And did anybody use any turbos in their Did anybody use turbos in their decorations on the side of their pulling vehicle?
Turbo up? Could that possibly be it?
We're getting close to it.
No, that's not it. Turbo up isn't.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Nope. But right. You want to talk scale? You want to talk outlawpulling.tv? They made some big announcements this past week.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my comments to come in here. Hello from Neoburn, Nebraska. Really enjoy the show. You guys do a good job. Robert Miner, thank you for tuning in. Of course, the boss man. Let's be on our best behavior here, Mike.
I saw that first comment of the night. So
Yeah, let's go. Let's go right to the announcement via Kurt Van Beek on the new live streaming platform. I'm going to find it here. I had it here somewhere, Mike.
And there were some questions floating around about that too and how that would translate. So I think it's a good time to look at that as well. There you go.
Here we go. If you can read that, the all new Outlaw Pulling TV. It's hard for me to read that with some of the stuff covering the text.
Oh, I've got it. If you want me to run down it, Ron, mine's
Yeah,
I
go
don't
ahead.
have
You can see
you
it
because
there,
you've
Mike.
got
Go
your
ahead.
green
I've got
screen
stuff
there.
covering it on my
This
screen.
is and this was released by the Kurt Van Beek, president and owner of the Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pulling Association, probably 2 days ago on Facebook. Exciting news for outlawpulling.tv subscribers. We have some thrilling updates to share with you regarding outlawpulling.tv. And I've been saying this for forever. Outlawpulling.tv, ditch Disney Plus, ditch Hulu, whatever. It's awesome. It's the best streaming service that I have out there. As part of our ongoing commitment to enhancing your viewing experience, we're thrilled to announce that we're moving to a new home, a streaming platform that promises even more functionality and ease of use. As a result of this transition, we want to inform you that your current monthly membership will be canceled in April of 2024. But don't worry, we've got some fantastic things in store for you. Our new streaming platform will offer a plethora of exciting features, making it easier than ever for you to enjoy all the thrilling action of Outlaw Pulling TV. Plus, we're excited to announce that you'll now be able to stream Outlaw Pulling TV on popular devices like Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, and Google. Folks, that's money. That is that extra little bit that truck and tractor pulling has been needing. What that correlates to out there, if you're, maybe someone like my father who doesn't always do the technology stuff, you no longer have to grab your computer, go to a website, get an HDMI cord, and then get everything all plugged in to put it on your television. If you have one of these streaming TVs, you can sit right there in the recliner and watch it just like you would cable television. We're working diligently to ensure that the new platform is up and running smoothly by the end of May, just in time for the season opener in Ravenna, Nebraska, June 7th and 8th. We truly appreciate your continued support and patience during this transition. Rest assured, we're committed to providing you with an exceptional viewing experience, and we can't wait to share all the exciting updates with you soon. Stay tuned for more information and get ready for an electrifying season of outlawpulling.tv. Kurt Van Beek. So
Good job,
you
Mike.
can watch it. Like, we've got a Fire Stick. And Ron, I'm sure you've done this before. Let's say you got a big, you're always at the polls. You're the voice of the Outlaws, so you probably don't sit at home and watch them from the sidelines very much. But I know I'll give a great example. Lufkin, Texas, we had a watch party up in the attic where we like to hang out.
In the attic,
yeah. Well, it's like I don't have a man cave. I have like a man upstairs. I don't know. It's up the man cave north. Yeah, I go up the stairs instead of down the stairs. So, but Lufkin, Texas, you set up your laptop. Now, the fact that you can stream pulls it all is phenomenal. Yep. But you set up your laptop, then you got to get your HDMI cord. You put your HDMI cord to the back of the television, get all that set up, get your volume adjusted. You get your beer and popcorn. You're halfway through the pull. Your laptop starts to die. You got to run downstairs, get the plug in. Now you just grab your, remote, boop, hit the old Amazon Fire, and bam, you're watching outlawpulling.tv. Does the website stay the same? I was thinking they were switching to like outlawpullingtv.live. Maybe I read that somewhere, but maybe I misread that. I don't know if the website itself is changing.
No, the website, it will not change.
Okay.
Though right now you cannot watch anything from the website. So that's something we need to make clear to those current subscribers to Outlaw Pulling TV. Your subscriptions will be canceled. So once the new platform is up, and we're talking in May before the season starts, we don't have a definitive date on that yet, but it will be in May when the new platform takes over. Then if you want to stay up to date and get all of the Outlaw events live, you'll need to go back in and resubscribe. And as Mike described, it will be easier. Unless you have a newer TV. Some of the newer TVs have computer settings in them where you can watch the old Outlaw TV from the old platform. But the new platform, you'll be able to use Roku, Fire Stick, etc. Through several different streaming channels. So, and you know what? When we had full pull TV, we used to be able to use, and we use the same platform. We used to be able to use Roku, and then at some point Roku put on some new fee or something, and the platform went away from it. But that's one reason. It's just everything costs money, and that in anything really, but in that industry, each little platform you're on, they want a percentage. So, but it will be easier. It will be more user friendly for fans to get on and watch. Like you said, they don't have to get the computer out and the HDMI cable and change the source and all that good stuff. So it should be a lot easier. And I think most people anymore are pretty well versed, I think.
Yeah, it's the
With streaming.
direction the world is moving, one way or another, and it's like anything. You spend half an hour with it, and you're gonna get a basic understanding. I promise it's easier. It's easier. Another thing I want to talk about, new platform, but as far as I know, and I feel like I know the people, same production crew behind the scenes.
Yes.
It's still going to be. If you enjoyed the style and what it looked like and the camera angles and whatnot, it's not that we haven't shifted companies, right, Ron? It's just that the people that were producing this are now producing it on a different platform.
Yeah, it's a different company as far as the platform. When you subscribe, your credit card is processed through a different company now. When you're having problems and you can't get your stream to come up, you'll be calling a different number now, or emailing a different, a helpline. It's not the same platform. So, remember that if you ever have trouble with your stream, go online to the site outlawpulling.tv and go to the help section to get it figured out. You don't call me, don't call Mike, don't call Kurt. We can't help you. We have no clue what's going on with that. And they should be able to figure it out.
But our camera operators that we've become accustomed to seeing at the track and some of our familiar faces, same crew, right? It's not like, this is not earth-shattering news that X group is out and Y group is in or whatever. You're going to see a lot of the same faces. The work those guys put in. Well, I'm going to show you a video tonight, and it's going to come from the same team out there. If I can figure out technology on my side, hopefully. But they do a great job, and it's nothing but good news for fans. We'll put it that way. Nothing but good news for Outlaw truck and tractor pulling fans.
Dwayne White says, is the cost going to be the same? Yes, the cost will be the same or similar. I know some of the bigger events are a little bit more than some of the smaller events throughout the season. But yes, there'll be no changes in price. The mayor of Ravenna, Nebraska, Marty Samuelson, checking in, saying hi. Hey, Marty. Who the heck is this, Mike? Is this you? Let me be your voice. Speak of announcements, do you need any announcers? Well,
that is not me. So, wait for the weather to get hot and capitalize on it. That's all I can tell you. So
this is pretty big news. People, for those wondering out there, the current subscribers, what the heck's going on? I can't get any polls right now. Nobody can. And unfortunately for me, I put together a lot of that video from the channel. I just don't have a lot saved. I have a lot of old video. So when it comes to producing this show, I can't put a lot of content up right now because I pull content from my subscription.
Yeah.
So I don't have access to any of that at all. So the production crew does have access to all that video content.
It's and I can't speak highly enough of it. And I started working with a lot of the people who produce it behind the scenes, and I didn't know they were producing it behind the scenes because I'm an idiot, I guess. But I would go on their show and I would say, "Oh, you guys, you've got to check out outlawpulling.tv. Like it's worth every cent. It's amazing." And they were laughing. They finally like, "Hey, Mike, we make that. Like, that's you don't have to sell it to us." But no, as an unbiased fan, I was a huge believer in it. The production quality is excellent. What it means now is you get to watch it straight from your television. Now you can still watch it on your tablet, laptop, phone, whatever, but it is going to be adaptable to your smart TV viewing devices, which just that's what you want. That takes it from an obscure online thing to a right on the television thing.
Should make things a little easier for those folks that have trouble with that. Also, in saying that, I know my dad likes to watch this show on Tuesday nights, and sometimes he has trouble getting it pulled up on his computer. But if you go to Facebook and on the title screen on the Outlaw page, there's one Outlaw logo that is a circle. If that circle has a red circle around it, it's usually white, but if it has red around it, that means we're live on the show. So neat little thing Facebook's got going. You don't have to search for it. Just go to the Outlaw page, click on that circle when we're live, and you'll be watching the show.
Yep, I just went and looked at it. It even says live in little red
Yep.
letters right at the bottom of it. So you know that we're good to go. Yeah, my dad, he's somehow set himself up with about 4 different Facebook accounts, and then he has to have me send the podcast to him the next day, and then he gets mad when I don't send it to the right one of his accounts. Well, he doesn't realize he's got 6 different accounts floating around out here, but we're going to make this stuff easy for everyone. That's our goal. Yeah.
So, one new face that will be helping with production and with announcing is Mike Idle. We're glad to have him. We now feel like we have the 2 best announcers in the Midwest. The crew for next year will be the same, led by Jason Schultz and Mackenzie Teeting. Quality will be awesome.
Very kind words, Kurt. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I kind of just jumped in and beat around the bush, and I never made any sort of official announcement. I never put anything on my Facebook. I've been busy with the school semester and everything, but I assume most people have kind of put it together by now. I will be the secondary announcer for the Outlaws this year. Ron Stone remains your loyal voice of the Outlaws, but I am very, very tickled, very excited to be working with, an organization that has just blown away the level of commitment and production behind the scenes that I've learned about in truck and tractor pulling. And this organization is just truly second to none. And it's a great opportunity, and I can't wait for it to get here. Well, my little moniker tonight, I think's got the countdown. I think we're 59 days away, Ron.
You know what it is? 59.
59 days away, and we kick off the season putting on a show together. Ravenna, we're going to be announcing side by side, I believe, at Ravenna. I think that's going to be a good time. I think that's going to be fun for us, fun for the fans. The pullers are chomping at the bit. 59, we're inside of 60. We're getting closer.
It'll be helpful to have you up there this year. If that big storm blows in again like it did last year, I'll have another set of hands, another set of legs.
Yes, you're excited to be chasing the Titan tire as it rolls away. So, Mike, you're low man on the totem pole. Go get that tire.
Well, no, it's all hands on deck when that stuff happens. The roof blew off the place, and I was grabbing electronics equipment and stuff, unplugging stuff, and running for the cover. So, no, it'd be great to have you on board this year, Mike. I enjoyed working with you. I'm sure it's going to be a great season. See, my pops got logged in. He said, "Thank you. That worked." Clicking on that circle. So awesome. That's a neat little thing Facebook has there, is that working with streaming platforms to do that.
When Jason gives you a hard time and he calls you Ronald, see, he needs to realize he's actually alluding to a senior here. Are you Ron Stone Jr.? I did not know that about you.
I am the second, my friend.
The second, even. Ooh, you and Patty Mahomes, man. You guys just have that dignity to you. That's excellent. I did not know that. Learning something new. So the schedule's out there. Mine was way off. So Jason got a hold of me. He's like, "Hey, we need to start teasing the schedule." So I made a Facebook post, and I was like, "All right, June 7th and 8th, Ravenna, Nebraska, be there." And then I was like, "And the very next weekend you need to be." And I typed out what my version had. And I think Kurt commented, and he was like, "Well, actually, there have been some changes." So we do have some updates on that. Why don't you tell the folks, Ron, 14th and 15th, June 7th and 8th, we're in Ravenna, Nebraska. But then there have been some changes if you've seen some of the old schedules floating around. And there's one big change I noticed before I got online tonight, and I'm excited to talk about as well.
The 14th of June, Norfolk, Nebraska was scheduled for, I believe it was the 28th.
June 28th. I've got the old schedule sitting right here. It was June 28th.
Was the weekend after Toma. It was a standalone pull. It was there. I mean, when I say standalone, it was out there on an island that weekend by itself. And of course, we always know if you can give a couple of hooks to the pullers, you're going to be more successful at getting more pullers to both those pulls that weekend instead of just having one pull, way out in, let's say, Norfolk, Nebraska. Sure, it's close for some of the local guys. So what we did was Cherokee, Iowa, backed out this year. For whatever reason, they're going to be unable to have their event. That pull was the night before Arlington. So once Cherokee pulled out, I looked at the schedule, and I thought that would be a perfect place to put Norfolk, Nebraska. So I contacted the promoter. They talked about it, called me back, said yes, they wanted to do it. That way, some of their classes that are also at Arlington, it will benefit those classes and those pullers. They get to have 2 hooks in the same weekend. And I think those 2 events are like 2.5 hours apart, within 2.5 hours apart. So fairly close.
So drivers can then treat that weekend too, that 14th and 15th, as, almost a 2-for-1 pull, like you would at Ravenna or like you would at Whitewright. Pullers always love, if they can pull twice in 2 days, that's what they're after. And if they can be within 2.5 hours to a truck and tractor puller is nothing. So they can kind of, get kill 2 birds with 1 stone with that. So that should work well.
And some of the classes that will benefit that weekend: light modified tractors, light limited pro, super farm, and limited pro stock. It's going to benefit all those classes. They'll get 2 hooks. They're relatively close together in Nebraska. The second weekend of pulling. It
also solved, and I don't know because I hadn't paid a lot of attention to, at one point there was some concern that the 4-wheel drive truck guys were not going to get their first hook until kind of deep into the early part of the season. But the 4-wheelers, I think, if I look online, are going to be hooking at
Manila.
Oh, no, the 4-wheelers are at Manila. Never mind. Excuse me. I was incorrect. The 4-wheel drives, the modified 4-wheel drives, are not at Norfolk. They're going to hook at Manila on June 22nd. So that was my mistake. Still, got them a hook before. At one point, they weren't going to hook until Rock Valley, I think. So kudos to whoever fixed that for them.
Yeah. Well, that came to light actually on this show when we were talking about it one night.
I thought we kind of discovered that one evening. So, well, that's why we do it, right? But so that's going to, what are the classes? Well, let's look at those first couple of weekends at Ravenna, and then the following weekend at Cherokee and Arlington. What are the lineups at each of those?
Well, Ravenna, has a full schedule, 22 classes for the weekend, so 11 classes per session. They've added the semi trucks this year, the limited pro stock semis, pro stock 4x4 pickups, light super stock, ag, light limited pro, super farm, limited pro stock, the alcohol supers, 2-wheel drive, and modified tractors. So,
and diesel supers, are the diesel supers there?
The diesel supers are there as well. Yes.
At Ravenna. So you've got some of the big boy shows, at risk of saying that, I don't want to say that there's a big boy and a little boy or whatever, but you've got some heavy hitters in there, I mean.
You're not going to offend anybody on this show, Mike. It's all right.
Well, pulling is good at any class, but if you got mods, 2-wheelers, light supers, and diesel supers, and big pros, you got the pro stocks there. Sign me up. I'm going.
Oh,
59
you're going?
days. 59 days. I'm convinced.
Already,
yeah. I'm,
man. One of our bigger pulls. It's a good one to kick the season off with. Norfolk and Arlington the following weekend, in Manila by itself on June 22nd. Whitewright, Texas, Thunder and the Lone Star, June 28th and 29th. That's going to be a big one again. That's co-sanctioned with the Texas.
And and this is kind of what you were talking about earlier too. Now Whitewright, which I feel you can almost always look at any organization schedule, and you can kind of go down the schedule and pick out your cornerstone events. You can kind of say, okay, here's your Toma, here's your Chapel Hill or whatever. And I've always felt, even before I started working with the Outlaws, Whitewright was one that I always heard of and knew about. So now that Norfolk has been bumped up, Whitewright gets to stand alone and gets its time in the sun there by itself, which should be, kind of, I imagine how you would want it. When you've got one of those cornerstone pulls, you kind of want all eyes on that one. So that allows for Whitewright to shine in the sun that way.
Yeah, we've got, destination events, Ravenna, Whitewright, Rock Valley,
Wisner.
Those are destination.
Yeah.
Pulls, those draw people in from, different states, and not all pulls do that. And that's nothing against, any of the other pulls, but the 2-day destination type hooks like that. Yeah. They're the cornerstone events on the schedule. Lufkin is one. It's becoming one.
Yes.
Well,
we were able to wheedle some rumors out of some of our California friends on our show last night, and no promises, but definitely some optimistic feelings that we might see some pullers all the way from California show up and pull in Lufkin, Texas to end the year this year. They were saying, you know what, don't count us out. We are creating plans. I said, nothing's it's written in pencil, not in ink, but Lufkin, Texas, we would like to come play with you guys. So
there's already one pretty well committed team coming to Wisner, I believe, from and Whitewright, twin engine mod and a single engine mod tractor are definitely coming. They've told me several times that they'll be coming to Whitewright, and I believe it was Wisner. So that will be cool. That will be cool. So
that stuff excites me so much. Just hearing those whisperings and the rumors.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
The who's doing. Oh, we're gonna come try this and stack up against our guys and their guys. That's I get a kick out of chewing on rumors like that, or more than rumors. But that gets you excited for the season for sure.
Well, that modified team, the crew chief is Brant Sullivan. And
I was gonna say I kind of started. I had a pretty good guess. That's who you were referring to.
And every time I see Donnie and Wayne, I always talk to him about it and kind of bug him about, might as well bring the Kentucky in and, the two-wheel drive, you know what I mean? And
absolutely. So, absolutely.
I'll never stop working on them. That would be cool. Get the Sullivan.
It's only good for pulling, as far as I'm concerned, when you can have the crossover events and have people kind of dabble this way and that way, the fans eat that stuff up. Esden Lane, who needs no introduction, but he showed up at an outlaw pull a handful of years ago. And that just set the western portion of the Midwest on fire, to think, oh, Esden, Dr. Diesel, the king of smoke, he's going to pull with us. And he's kind of been religious about it since then. He has his handful of pulls, and he finished. He was a points hook this year. I mean, he was in your top 5 or whatever, hooking for points. That's nothing but good for the world of pulling.
Yeah, he kind of, was keeping a low profile there for several years. And I think he was, having some health issues. And
he was.
Yeah, like you said, he popped up there. Just, I think maybe there was a few outlaw pullers that knew. Say a Mark Ulmer. I think he probably knew that Esden was coming. But yeah, it surprised a lot of people. And was the talk of Wisner that year. That's just been 3 years ago, I think.
That sounds about right. And then, but I feel like he's been to Wisner every year since then. And then he went to Rock Valley. And then didn't he hook at did he hook at Spencer last year? Did he go to the final hook and hook at Spencer?
Testing my memory here. I'm not
either did
sure.
or he didn't. I feel like he maybe did.
And I think the app has been updated, so we wouldn't find it on the app. So
that's good. Someone was asking about that the other day. They said, when will the app switch over to the 2024 season?
Yep, the app has been updated. So
standings, none of them, no standings.
Yep. So, app has been updated, so we can't go back and look at the history of last season now.
We have a standings, or early standings. This is preseason, I guess. And the RLPS, I'm assuming that's regional, limited pro stock. The Mean Farmer is currently sitting number 1. So I don't know I don't know what that means.
I don't think that's what it means.
But that's it. That's the only one in there. The only standings we have. So
here we go. Hey, there's some folks out here with better memories than better memory than myself. Sheldon Nelson watching said he was at Spencer last September. Thanks, Sheldon, for tuning in. Let me get Don Spore in here checking in from Neenah, Wisconsin. Thanks for watching. Marty Samuelson says watching the semis in Ravenna will be fun. I agree. That
class made, and we talked about this I think last week or the week before, but what an impression they made last year and built a lot of good momentum rolling into the 2024 season. Look for them to be a really enjoyable class and a fun points race to watch this year.
Yeah, the Richard Darr, there are rumblings, speaking of rumors, that he is building another truck in addition to the trucks he already has pulling, specifically for pulling. So any folks that followed that semi-class with us, the Limited Pro Stock semi-class with us this past season, knows that Darr's trucks run, they're like the standard of the class for others to shoot for, the quality and the power that his trucks make. So another really good semi, most likely coming out of the Darr shop, going to be pulling with us this year in that Limited Pro Stock semi truck class.
Yeah, that's great news. That's awesome. Those semis, they can blow a lot of. They probably get the award for most. I'm going to try to create a really clever segue here. They probably blew the most smoke at any given show last year. I think, was it Friday night or Saturday night in Rock Valley, where they had one where the connection on the exhaust kind of came undone. And I mean, that thing rolled. That thing, you guys experienced the eclipse before everyone else up there in Rock Valley this summer when that coal cloud came out there over the.
We didn't need it up there that night. It was cold as all get out. But yeah. Yes, crossover pipe came apart, and all the smoke blew underneath the truck, and the crowd loved it. I mean,
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Yep. That's wild rides, wrecks, and fires. That's what gets them going.
So there you go. The outlawpulling.tv will be updated in May. So if you've noticed you went to watch a pull, and you couldn't watch it, that's why. Just stay tuned. As soon as the new site is up, we will let you know, and you can start your new subscription with the all new Outlaw Pulling TV. The app is now updated and ready to go for 2024, the 2024 pulling season. The schedule is very close. I don't think there's anything major on that schedule. But maybe a class change here or there, and I'm talking minor, maybe.
So can we expect at this point, because I don't know how schedule building works, the dates and the towns, are those pretty much a lock? The only thing that would change would be potential classes, specific classes at each date or
for
town.
the most part, yes. There could be one change of a town, but waiting to see the results of another town's decision on taking that night. So, and that's all I'm going to say about that, as Forrest Gump would say. James O'Harmon watching from Cedar Rapids.
Jim Harmon.
Thanks.
They had a big antique or classics pull 2 or 3 weeks ago in Southeast Iowa. I was not able to make it out there. I was doing something. I was coaching that weekend. I had a busy weekend tournament. We were coaching that weekend, but they had a huge, like I'm talking like over at 4 a.m. type of huge pull they had.
I've been to those. I ran a sled at an antique pool for 13 hours one day, night, morning. Yeah. That was an experience.
You ran a sled one day for 2 days.
Yeah, I ran a sled one day for 2 days. You got it. Yeah.
They can do that. They can do that.
Well, we're going to continue week to week, inviting a sponsor to come on for 15, 20 minutes, or even, however long they want to stay on. Honestly, we had a good time with Titan last week. Kim Bacardi came on, talked about the high points of 2023 and what all they have planned for 2024 and their sponsorship, Titan Tire, with the young guns. Going to be a great season for them. I've invited for next week, I've got Schaefer Dave with Schaefer Oil, Specialized Lubricants, coming on next week. So he'll be joining us, Mike, for a little bit.
Good.
And he may stay with us the whole hour. Dave likes pulling as much as we do. So
I can talk. We can talk. Ron, that's one thing you and I can do. We can talk truck and tractor pulling. So hour and a half, 2 hours. Last night we pushed a show out for 3 hours. We wrapped it up. We were done. We were done at 2 hours and 54 minutes. And Jason Schultz, being Jason Schultz, looks at me and he's like, "You haven't done a 3-hour show yet. So we're going to do a 3-hour show. So we're going to talk for 6 more minutes." And I'm like, "All right, man, let's roll." That's how it goes. I'm sure you've had similar experiences.
I think we've gone beyond 2 hours before. I don't think we've ever hit 3 hours on this show. Maybe. I don't. I don't know. I think we've went over 2 before. Sometimes you get to talking about pulling and stuff, and if people are still watching, and you get on a roll, and
yeah. Sometimes it gets that feel, where you're sitting on a truck bed with your buddies, and you're chewing on the what ifs and the whatnots, and the days gone by, and it can get rolling. That's for sure. Oh yeah, super fan experience. That's a good question.
I haven't heard anything from Case IH yet on that, so yeah, I don't know anything about that at this point. I have not heard anything about a super fan contest, but we'll be the first to let you know here on this show if that occurs, if Case IH comes back out with a contest for this summer. I will tell you that we're working right now on the Holganics Midwest, the Holganics Midwest sweep for the summer. I'm not going to let many details out, but I will let you know it's going to be longer. There's going to be more than double the classes involved, and there will be double the prize money. So from 2023. So it's going to be a lot bigger, a lot more money. So keep in tune to that. That's going to be coming out very soon. As soon as we get all the details wrapped up on that, the Holganics Summer Sweep, Holganics Midwest Summer Sweep. And Kurt chimed in and said, yes, Case IH is going to do a contest. So he might have the details. I do not, as of this broadcast. So stay tuned, Dallas Todd. Maybe as soon as we get the details for that, we'll let you know about that soon also.
That will, Holganics was a huge sponsor that was brought on this past year too. I mean, they were, I saw some of the things they did. They were very impressive.
Yeah, it will be 11 classes this year, as opposed to the 5 we had for 2023. And it won't be $25,000. It will be $50,000 up for grabs in those sweeps for 2024. So Holganics Midwest, as soon as we get all those details wrapped up, we'll put out a press release ahead of the show, and we'll have somebody representing Holganics Midwest on the show that night as well. So stay tuned for that. That'll be a big one.
Yeah, that's great. I'm piddling behind scenes. I'm trying to get some videos and some pictures because I feel, my gut tells me, we've blown a lot of smoke tonight, but I feel like we're getting pretty close to that point in the show where the smoke is starting to clear. And when the smoke clears, you just might be looking at an outlaw. Ron, what do you think? You want to throw our featured driver up here and we can highlight? I can't wait to show this video. I'm probably just gonna end up screen sharing. I was trying to download it, and there's a better way to do that and put it on screen, but I'm not that savvy just yet. I can hear all the people who've been trying to work with me groaning in the background, but your hint, guys, is turbo. This driver runs a turbo and he displays. Final hint: displays a turbo on the side and weight box of the vehicle. If anyone has any final guesses for when the smoke clears, a featured driver tonight. Hit my screen share on here, and we'll get... All right. Can you see that, Ron?
We got it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So this is a brand new video put together by the Beer Money Pulling team by Kinsey herself. She is amazing. Hopefully this has sound and works, and let's check this out. Ryan Stahl in the spooled up limited pro stock 3.0 diesel truck, your 3.0 points champion for this year, has been selected semi-arbitrarily as your When the Smoke Clears featured driver for this evening.
Awesome.
So here's Ryan right here. Kinsey and everybody at Beer Money Pulling Team has been working hard to, if I can jump back over and get on my right page here. I got one more I think I can give you. Mm-hmm. And there's our picture of Ryan himself. 3.0 diesel truck. Got any good Ryan Stahl stories for the audience, Ron?
Just that truck, even though it's like a 48, 49 Chevy body, that is, as of last year, the all new spooled up truck. He used to run a Chevrolet with a Duramax. This is his first time going out with a inline Cummins, inline 6-cylinder Cummins. So he ran a V8 Duramax, up until last season. So he said it was a completely different animal.
So he's got a Chevy body on this, or he's got a GM body, correct?
Yes.
But now he's got the Duramax under the hood, I believe. So some information from Ryan, and we'll get all this posted on the Outlaw Facebook page, and we'll make this a little bit more seamless in the future. But some of his information, he says he is running in the spooled up truck. It's a 3.0 limited pro diesel truck, 49 Chevy with the 3600 sheet metal on. He's been pulling for 13 years. His first hook was in Bedford, Iowa with the Young Farmers, sponsored by NWMTTPA, Northwest Missouri Truck and Tractor Pullers Association. His most memorable. What's that?
I said, say that 5 times real fast.
Northwest Missouri Truck and Tractor Pullers Association, NWMTTPA.
Yeah, there you go.
You ever notice that we were talking about the Pacific, what were the last night? The Pacific Tractor Pullers Association. Almost everything's going to end with TPA. If you can get to that, you can just roll the TPA off the tongue. But his most memorable hook, and we'll have this all displayed after the end of the show, was a few years ago with the Outlaws out in Colorado. Ron, did you announce that out there in Colorado when they went out there and pulled in 2022?
I did. Myself, Fred Petch, and Jason Schultz were all on the mic out there. That was a unique show. It was interesting.
Talk about the background and just the picturesque scenery of pulling in Colorado.
Yeah, the backdrop was pretty amazing, and the track actually turned out to be a really good track. Out there.
They worked hard on it. I mean, I feel like I heard, was it Kevin Bauer got out of the sled and helped them and consulted them quite a bit, and put a lot of work into it to get that track to where it needed to be, I think, is what I'd heard.
Yeah, it was hands-on for him, and I know Ryan Boyson, they work pretty hard. I'm not sure. I think maybe Richard Morris may have had a hand in it too, but they were working a lot the day before, all day the day before, and all night, getting moisture in it and everything. But yeah, that was a cool hook. I mean, to win that.
The pictures I'd seen on that one is just really neat. Says the wildest ride he ever took was 2021. Had a terrible bounce in it that season. Said almost give you a concussion. He's won 1 points championship. That was just this past year in 2023. His biggest pulling hero is his family. Says without this, none of it happens, and they are my hero. And his best advice, study the little things. It's not always the horsepower that wins, but it helps. Maybe that's why I went over to the dark side and put that Cummins under the hood there.
Yeah,
his day job, he owns RSE Fabrication, builds high-quality skid steer and tractor attachments. And his pulling goals, he wants to win more championships, see his kids drive it. Says the best part about being an outlaw, the pullers, we are a big family. Truer words were probably never spoken. His message to the fans, thank you for your support. There's no better feeling than after a pull and watching the kids' faces light up and take pictures with everyone. And you can follow him on social media under his personal account at Ryan Stahl. So there you go. When the smoke clears, you are looking at an outlaw. And the outlaw that we're going to feature this week in the spooled up 3.0 diesel truck, Ryan Stahl, out of the great state of Missouri, I might add.
Yeah, awesome. Good job on that. Thanks, Ryan Stahl, for being a part of it as well. Cool little series you got going there. I knew who it was going to be, of course, as of last week, but I was just playing along with the.
You got to tease it up. You can't sit there and can't dangle the carrot and say, "Oh, well, here it is, guys."
Russ Dostal wondering if the banners. I'm not sure if we're doing the banners again or not. Details on that Case IH contest coming up very soon. Zook Fukerberg. I believe a safety and rule show would be great with examples of pics of different safety things that are really hard to explain in the rule book. Even some of the turbo rules are a bit hard to explain, and maybe some links where to get things. Example, the safety cable around the engine, not a bad idea. Mm-hmm. Maybe we can incorporate some of those. We tried to, incorporate some of that here recently with the turbo rules with the cage and such. And we tried to clarify a lot of that stuff. So, yeah, anything comes up like that, we'll probably get, a rules guy. We'll get Boyson on here, something, and talk rules and get some pictures and things. So, yeah, good idea. Zook Fukerberg.
He's got some changes in the works from the 23 to the 24 season is what I believe I've seen or heard. He's maybe switching around his forced air and how he's going to make that dragon breathe.
Yeah, that will be interesting. Putting twin turbos on that big Rolls Royce. I'm sure it's going to get a lot more air than it got with the original supercharger on the front of the motor.
The Pro Charger, those were kind of, I always use that word. It's fun to say, but that's basically a Pro Charger, isn't it?
Well, I don't know how similar they are. That supercharger on the front, you're talking 1930s and 40s technology, where I would think the Pro Charger would be a lot more advanced and more efficient than the factory Rolls-Royce supercharger that was on that engine. He's saying 240 millimeter turbos going on there. Speaking of that,
is that one per bank? I'm assuming 2 single stage turbos is what I'm assuming. We're not doing a 2-stage 1-into-1. So we're going to put one on either side, I would assume.
That's the assumption he's going to answer here, but I'm sure that's what the plan is. But did you see the Top Gun tractor?
Man, so all my buddies, my dad and I were talking. First of all, cool. Just when you look at it, I mean, that's wild looking. Yeah. I get in over my head very quickly mechanically, and this is my big drawback and my shortcomings as a broadcaster or podcaster, announcer, or whatever. I know just enough about how things work to get myself in trouble. I can understand hypothetically how you can spin one supercharger on one of those V12 Allisons. How's he spinning that second one on the back? That confuses me.
It's a good question.
That's because I can understand you got the first one coming off the crank off the front, and then you can see they're connected, like the injector hats are going to open with the same throttle cable or whatever. Where he's turning that one on the back.
I had the same question. And there wasn't enough pictures or video of it to see. I don't know if there is a gearbox between them. The back sides of those superchargers, maybe that connects them, something connecting them from the backside. That's the only thing I could figure, and I still couldn't get a good picture of that. So, but it's definitely interesting for sure.
It's mean looking. It is, if nothing else, if you just want to drive it around and take pictures of it, it is a mean looking machine right now for sure.
Yeah, well, kudos to them for doing that before somebody in Europe did. I mean, Europe always has the wild combinations these days. But that I hope it works for him. That's really cool.
The other thing I like to talk about while we're talking about this, because this is something that it was Doug's tractor, Wayne's former tractor, that helped me to understand this. I always just assumed a V12 is a V12. Those Rolls Royces are notably, if not significantly bigger. I mean, the size of a Rolls Royce Griffin compared to like a V12 Allison out of a P51, those Rolls Royces are big motors. Those are quite a bit larger.
pushing 2,400 cubic inches. The
Yeah.
Allisons are just over 1,700.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, it's super cool to have those motors around still. I know a lot of the boat racers used them and threw them away. I mean, they would blow one up and throw it away, I mean, but they were so cheap after World War II, the surplus, they had so many.
350 bucks. You could pick them up for nothing.
So yeah, they treated them like they were disposable power plants in the boat racing world, So, but it's cool to still have them out there. And I think a Doug or Zuck, I should say.
Yes, sorry.
I think he's probably
alias. I pulled off the Superman goggles, not to expose any identities here.
The same links to different Facebook pages that are like historical plane engines and stuff, and it pops up several a week. It'll be a German engine one day and a Russian plane. And some of the power plants back then were super unique. And every once in a while I'll see one and I'll tag Doug in it and say, you need to get one of these. And I did that one night and he called me up and he said, I almost bought one of those. But
speaking of, unique power plants and tanks and all people named Doug, how about the Patriot? I want to hear you make a bold preseason prediction. Is that thing going to get cleaned out and come to life and make a handful of impressive, pretty passes this year in the light modified division?
My whole synopsis of that engine, once I saw it, I thought they get it figured out. They're going to be one to contend with. I think, I'm not sure how many people he's going to have driving it. It seems like he has 2 or 3 different people driving it. But I think you get, one driver in there to get used to it, get the gearing figured out, get it all tuned in. And I think that's going to be a tough one to contend with. I think, honestly, one that needs to be worried about from the rest of the class is Wes Severs. I think he got enough time in the seat this past summer, and they get the gearing figured out in that and everything. And I think he's going to be one to beat for 2024.
I think people knew that, and I think there's a lot of indicators we can look at that. I think his back half of the season, I always said, if you give that guy 3 more hooks, he wins the points race. And then that was a new tractor with a new setup. And the rules committee on that, they didn't really know at the time where they were going to go with a diesel setup, but they pretty much locked it in that his setup was kind of where they were going to leave it. I don't remember if that was the size of the turbo or you can't put 2 turbos on, but whatever it was, they kind of looked at each other and they said, hey, we better not give him any more, because we give him any more, he's already a good enough driver and a good enough engine builder. Like I think I said this on a show before, the Ott boys went 1 and 2. So you'd think the Big Red X would be on their back. The Big Red X feels like it's on Wes's back. He feels like the one that everyone's going to be gunning for in that class this year. But
yeah, I mean, we've seen that engine, be so competitive and successful in the limited pro stock class. It's basically a limited pro tractor engine. Those power plants have worked well, historically, and still working well in a 9,500 pound chassis. They dropped on a 6,000 pound tractor. So was probably a little bit of learning and figuring out to do with that. But I think once he got a hold of it and handle, I should say, I think he's going to be one to beat. It's going to be a fun class for sure to watch.
It's a fan favorite. So a lot of people that I associate with, they either don't watch pulling or they've been really, really into other organizations. And when they come and watch the Outlaws, they walk away very quickly talking about that class. They said the variety, that's something we miss. The speed, that's something we miss. The horsepower, you hear the words that you hate, like light and limited. They thought, well, we didn't think that class was going to produce that much. And they said, no, man, that thing is producing all the power, the rides, because it's 6,000 pounds too. That's where things can get really Western in a hurry. We've seen the twin turbocharged LS Motors tractor. It's taken some wild rides. Wes has taken some fun rides they all have. You only give them 6,000 pounds to play with, and things can get squirrely at any time.
Yeah, I've heard some rumors that some of the single turbines in that class have found a little more horsepower. I've heard a lot of things. I don't want to say everything that I've heard, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that class is growing right before our eyes. I think with that variety, it's got staying power. That light modified class. It's just the variety is what fuels it. It's everybody likes all those unique combinations.
People miss that. People really, really have missed that. And I would say I got, really hard and heavy into pulling about 2012. I was going through, that's where I was no longer a kid. And, I'm kind of coming into my own. And around 2012, you could go out there and in the modified classes, you would still see a handful of turbines. You would see, a few DT 466s. There are actually a couple of those with the double stuff tractor and Don Nelson's tractor. But then almost immediately after that, everything went 1471 Hemi. And that was just boom, period, end of story. And, hey, if it works. But a lot of fans then were like, oh, okay. Like they lost interest in the mods because there was just wash, rinse, and repeat kind of on how you build a mod there for a while. But the light modified at the Outlaws, if you want to see stuff, there is stuff. I mean, it's about as creative as you can think about it. They're going to find a way to build it. I heard Dale, I think, was announcing, or one of the Outlaw announcers basically said the class is limited to like X amount of horsepower. And other than that, if you can strap it to a chassis, it's good.
Yeah. It is. That's horsepower is what's taken into consideration when you sit down in the rules meetings in the fall, specifically in that class. They're trying to stay under a certain horsepower number, stay around that horsepower number.
Mm-hmm.
The 7,400 pound modified tractors, of course, I think they're all set now on the turbines, the twin turbines now on the horsepower ratings for those. That's something to be looking forward to this summer. I know we have 2 of those tractors that'll be coming out with those new turbine settings, and the Petch tractor. And help me out, Mike. Help me out.
Is it the Barons brothers?
Yes,
is that the other one? Yep. Yeah, Cody. Is it Cody Barons? Am I saying that right? I met him a couple of times last year, and he was kind of just running that thing almost on display, kind of trying to say, hey, if you do turn it up to this, here's where it would be at. He was almost petitioning to get that where he felt he wanted it. And it feels like, I think his campaign essentially was successful, that thing is going to be running kind of where we saw it tuned and making some of its exhibition passes last year. Turbines coming back. We want to see that. The 7,400 mod class is just a cool class. Two Hemis, 3 Chevys, pick your poison. The weight to horsepower ratio is really good in that class. You're not watching guys just blow the tires off and just dig from the first moment on. They're putting it to the ground. That's something, whoever built that class for the Outlaws, whenever they did their homework and they did it right in the world of modified pulling.
Yeah. Speaking of, we were talking about new tractors. There's one new tractor coming out of Nebraska, a twin Hemi coming out. Then, will we see the Rursch tractor this summer? You talk about V12s. There's a Packard V12 on that tractor, Ella Rursch. Will we see that tractor this summer?
That one went boom in my hometown. That one went boom in Macon, I think. Didn't it suffer some catastrophic damage or some big damage at
I think it had a reputation for catching on fire week out. So
could have been many places that did that.
Here we go, Mike. You can get involved in pulling right now and get to driving. He says he has a 1790 Continental V12 and a chassis. If someone wants to build a light mod, there you go.
Talk me into it. At this point, people keep giving me a hard time. They're like, oh, well, don't you want to drive one? Don't you want to drive one? And I kept saying, no. What's the worst that could happen, Ron? Might as well. Ron grimaces because he knows exactly what the worst thing he says.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'd have to say yes. I would. Actually, Bodie Ott told me a few years ago that he was going to let me drive one of the Allisons one time. I never did chase him down on that, say that I was ready to drive one. But
You guys have seen the irreversible damage that I can do just by putting a microphone in my hand. You don't want to put a throttle in my hand. Okay, I already do enough damage just from the crow's nest. You don't need me down on the track.
What's this? Here Zuck is stirring up trouble and fueling the rumor mill here.
Okay, no, I'm glad he brought this up. This has been a big hypothetical what if, something I didn't know the answer to. And I was always curious. And there's the answer. Can you, and why hasn't anyone ran a twin Allison with the Outlaws in the 7400 class? And the Bollingers, my dad and I used to always say, like, hey, if you could ever convince people to cross rivers and borders, like, get the Bollingers, because Top Gun, that'd be a heck of a class for that one to compete in. So would they be completely legal? Twin Allison, 7,400 pounds, that would be within the rules?
And I have to read the rule book, but I think we opened it up to that a few years ago. I know a little bit of history on this, and I know that Bodie was chasing down a chassis. And yeah, I don't want to give away the whole thing because, you know, I hear a lot of conversations that aren't supposed to be public, so I have to be careful.
Here's what I want to tell fans. If you've heard the Griffin growl, or if you've heard any of the Ott tractors, if you've ever heard one V12, you're hearing some of the prettiest music in all the world of truck and tractor pulling. If you hear a twin V12, you hear two V12 side by side.
Brian Fuller is correct.
There is almost no better sound. So just from a marketing standpoint, hearing those things singing a tune side by side, it's the best sound in pulling.
Bill Prince out of Canada, just another invader. He has twin Allisons, and they have pulled with us with those twins. But yes, you can run twins. I think the difference is like injection, carburation. And boost. I think it gets a little intricate when you get into the rules of how you feed those beasts when you put two of them on there, as far as the Outlaw rules. So
someone was asking me
for next week, Mike.
Someone was asking me this question, and it's one I don't know the answer to, because it was the coolest looking modified that ever existed. When Don Nelson had the Brent Long motor plus the twin Hemis on the back, that's just was too cool for school. Was there an adjustment to the rule book made to where he was not able to run those, or did he just decide it runs more consistently, it's easier to work on just with the alcohol motor alone and not worry about the blower motors?
Yeah, I don't know what the rules were at that time. That was before I came to the Outlaws, so I'm sure it was a little more open to a combination like that. Definitely that combination would not be legal now.
Would that be over a horsepower limit, or what? Just because of, well, I guess if you're limited to two Chevy or to two Hemis, that doesn't say two Hemis plus a stinking light super stock motor as well. You know, two Hemis is two Hemis.
Well, to give you an idea of the power of what that DT 466 is making, I mean, Donald's other tractor has one on it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly.
Competing against the twin Hemis, so he's right there in that 6,000 horsepower.
And that 6,000 is kind of the magic number in that class, or even the cap number, isn't it?
It's trying to stay around that 6,000.
So that's kind of your magic number. Yeah, your
range. You know what? It gets different with different combinations, because some combinations make more torque. The turbines are a little different animal too. You know, they can't, when you pull back on a throttle of a turbine, it's pretty much over. You can't, get back in the power. They're just a little different animal with a lot of RPM. So torque, horsepower, these different combinations are a little bit different. So they're not capping it just specifically on horsepower.
Yeah. But they have a general range that they're looking to say, this is how we're going to make this a competitive class across the board. If we can kind of bank that everyone's around this, then we can start building our class from there. That's a smart way to do it.
I have the rule book here, and I'm going to see if I can find, just since we're talking about it.
Oh, I'm all about it.
I want to, here we go, rule book. download again. Yes, I had it in my phone already. I should have just. Yeah, Brian Fuhr. We were talking about this tractors. That's why we're talking about Allison's right now.
Yeah, but really, for people just tuning in, it doesn't hook with the Outlaws. Someone send them an invitation, but go look at it because it's an amazing looking piece of equipment.
Very cool.
Oh, did you see this, Ron? David Prince is going to make some Outlaw hooks this year. Is that the one you said with the twin Allisons?
Yeah, they have the twin Allison, which they'll pull an engine off and run it in the light modified class.
Uh-huh.
And they'll put the other Allison on to pull in the 7,400-pound class. And they also have a single Allison tractor as well. They pull in the light modified class. I think it's called the Warhawk. Somebody help me if I got that wrong. I'm looking for the rule.
There was also, and I'll kind of just talk to the folks while you find that rule right there, but talking about people who switch back and forth between the light modified and the modified class, which some people get, they didn't like that. There was a time back in the 80s you could run 5, 7, 9, and 12,000 modified and just keep adding engines all day long as you could maintain them. Then people got burnt out on that. I think that's a neat idea personally. I think if you're going to jump classes and compete in more than one, I think that's really, really cool. And there was a competitor who did it with the Outlaws this last year who would pull, it was a 2 Hemi set out front, sat kind of at an angle, and he would pull one off every great once in a while and run it in the light mod division. I'd look his name up, but our app is being updated at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, it is the Warhawk. Cole Lindahl confirming that. I knew it was the Warhawk, but I know we already have a Warhawk. But
yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Let's see, what is this? Is a bullwhip of second place points following Twisted Whip 3 to 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's
really tough. Dave Nelson watching. Kent Urban. Talking about he runs the big 10-liter Aries engines on his tractor. Cameron Neves. What's Scott Bracken? Is he going to pull?
That's what I'm talking about, Cameron. Yep. You're right. You're completely correct. Yeah, the one who would run two. He would run 2 Hemis in modified, and then a couple of times he would take the left one or the right one. I don't remember if he took the whole motor off or if he just took the blower, like shut it down. He only ran one motor. I don't remember if he actually pulled it off or left it on there for weight. And he just pulled the whole thing off. And he ran a few of them in Nebraska, I want to say, with just one of those engines out there.
Okay, this is what you wanted to hear on the twin Allisons.
Yes. Can we run twin Allisons in the 7,400 mod
aircraft V12s? Maximum overdrive limit on the stock Allison supercharger of 9.5 inches to a maximum speed ratio of 8.8 to 1. No turbos. EFI allowed. So I think
you can fuel inject them. So you can run 2 as long as you keep it within those parameters.
Yeah. No turbochargers, period. EFI allowed.
So no chargers, but you can take the carburetor off and you can fuel inject them, which can make a difference.
Here, Robert Miner. Did Cotton Candy ever figure out why it didn't want to run at the last indoor show? I think he's talking about the very first attempt. Did he? I think they got it figured out the second run.
He just wasn't. He did. He had the test hook. He dropped it. He came back. I think the whole world was expecting Cameron to win that thing after what he did at the farm show.
He's watching, so maybe he'll comment.
The track, from a fan's perspective, the track at the truck show looked looks notably too significantly. It's the second time I've said this in this show. It looked notably too significantly different than the track at between the National Farm Machinery Show and the truck show. The truck show track looked like it behaved very differently, and that looked like that played into the hand of the way some of those modified tractors that performed one way at the farm show then performed the second time at the truck show.
So
and I'd heard that had a... What's that, Ron?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. Go ahead. You were there. You can talk about the track.
I'm going to go back to this Allison. And Gage got chiming in saying the 7,400 Allison rules is the light mod rule times 2. But the light mod rules, Gage says Allison V12 aircraft engine limited to 9.6 to 1 supercharger, overdrive ratio. I think we need to clean a couple of those up a little bit, maybe. 1 carbureted gas Allison. So I think on the 7,400, instead of the period, I think I should say or fuel injection. Good.
So it sounds like what Gage is saying, though, he can just take his exact setup and double it. Am I reading that? That's how. So borrow your brother's motor.
So
just, put it on the red one day, put it on the blue one the next day.
So at the end of that rule, on rule number 10 and 7,400 pound modifieds, where it says no turbochargers, period, EFI allowed, period, it should say no turbochargers or EFI allowed. Am I saying that right, Gage? I think I am. I think it's simply a typo here where it was typed incorrectly.
Either way, here's my conclusion. If we saw a twin Allison pulling in the mod class, that would be cool.
Yes, and there is just another invader. If he comes and pulls with us this summer, you'll definitely see a twin Allison. And they're in line. They're not side by side. There's one in front.
Oh, are they stair stacked a little bit? Yep. 2 different clutches, like back in the day. Like the old rambunctious tractor.
Yes. Yep. Speaking of unique, late Sonny Martinez, Mexican being the only mod around with a foot throttle. Yep. As well as his truck. His 2-wheeler. Cameron Neves answering that question. Track was different than we anticipated. I should have drove more aggressive the first hook. We decided to drop and run again and drive different. Starting line was harder than a usual National Farm Machinery Show track.
It looked that way. From my limited assessment abilities, it looked, and I'd heard that the timing of the show was much different and the preliminaries were much different and the ability to put water into the track because of the circumstances. But 2 shows, 1 venue, 2 different tracks. It makes for, makes for something new, makes for something unique. It's not necessarily a bad thing. But yeah, that's what looked like what happened with Cameron. That would have been my guess.
Yeah, it got really out of shape on his first pass too. Like it was hooking and unhooking, and the chassis was twisting around.
Exactly. Well, like it was hard, and he was almost fighting a hop a little bit,
Brian Fuller, thumbs up on the carb to Allison. So yeah, if anybody's out there building an twin Allison with EFI, better take that off, put the carbs back on. Written incorrectly in the rule book. Michael Pellman, keep up the good work, guys. Thanks, Michael, for tuning in. And I want to say before I forget on here, I don't want to end this show without saying our condolences, prayers going out to Brad Zeck family. Passed away last week. Of course, he's an 8,500 light limited pro stock driver from Nebraska, the Dark Horse International. He was looking forward to driving this year. He had some surgery early last spring and early summer where they had to take part of his leg off in surgery. But the doctor gave him a thumbs up to come out and pull this year, but had some other medical issues that came up. And unfortunately, we lost Brad last week. So condolences to the family. That funeral is this Saturday. So rest in peace, Brad Zeck.
Mm-hmm. Well said. Well said, Ron. Yep, absolutely.
So a lot of good, got a lot of pullers watching tonight. So
I know that's been fun. It's been like, who are we going to interview? Well, we'll just start throwing out. It's like we'll just throw out the questions and just let these guys run the show for us, which they are the showmen. You can't have the pull without the pullers. So, it's like preseason. We'll talk and they'll pull and we'll all get in shape and get ready to go.
I want to go through comments here. There's 1, 2, 3 pullers there just right away. 4. 5. At least 5 pullers that are commenting. There's 6.
Yeah.
So yeah. Kurt Van Beek, he's not a puller. So yeah, at least 6 pullers commenting tonight. So thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate it. What else you want to talk about, Mike? I mean, we're already past an hour. We can do whatever we want here, right?
Mm-hmm. It's your show. No, it's 59 days. I wanted to make that my tagline for tonight. 59 days. And don't double check that. I teach English, not math. Counting is hard. Just know that we're getting close, because I know I probably met them. Oh, actually, it's 57 or 68. I don't know. When I did the quick math before the show, came up with 59 days till the first show. You can feel it. I mean, when you got pullers watching, pullers are talking about stuff. Me and you are like just kids in a candy store, just bouncing up and down, waiting for pull season. We've got pulling fever. But Ravenna, Nebraska, I truly believe is going to be an awesome way to kick off the 2024 season. It's a 2-night show. It's right in the heart of outlaw territory. What'd you say? 22, 11 different classes, 22 hooks, something like that.
22 hooks total over the weekend. Yep.
Yeah. It's going to be a good show. And then from there, it's off running. I've never done a full season in any capacity. And is it a sprint or a marathon or a sprinting marathon, Mr. Stone?
A little bit of both. You get into mid-July through mid-August, and yeah, it's you kind of become a carny going from town to town there.
Yeah.
But I've got to interrupt you here, man. We've got some breaking news. We need a news flash on here. We need some graphics for a news flash or breaking news. Gage Ott says the Foreign Affairs tractor has made its way back to Nebraska and will be out this summer. Gage, we need details. Who's got it? Any changes made to the tractor? Of course, that tractor won the points a few years ago.
This is a turbine, right? This one's not an Alice. Yeah.
It's a twin turbine, side by side.
What I thought, yeah.
Turbines. Yeah, he won the points with that tractor. The first season we brought the light mods back in and started a point series. And yeah, that was Big Brother though. Gage, we want details. We want deets here, man. And which tractor is this? Gage V12. They have a conversation going on here that I'm not privy to here. I'm not sure what he's talking about. Which remark? So wow, that light mod class is just getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and I mean, not only is the variety and the competition great, but truly the numbers. I mean, we're going to be flirting with 12, 15 more. I mean, if you really stop and start counting them, I mean, maybe that's a little high, but maybe not. I'd say we're easy. We're easy in the double digits. So that's what pullers want. That's what fans want.
Sometimes there could be an occasion where some of the Illinois, the ITPA guys, their light mods could come over and play with the outlaw light mods. The rules are similar enough to where they could come play. Gage says it will look completely different. He'll let the owner announce it. Okay, fair enough. But that's awesome. You still have
that's great.
The single engine chassis that you were trying to sell there? Gage, that question was for you. Marty Sandwich.
Brendan Curtis, currently stationed working in Norfolk, Nebraska, needs to buy that chassis. My brother-in-law, Brendan Curtis, throwing it out there right now, needs to buy that.
This is a completely different. Marty Samuelson sending out condolences to the Zeck family.
Yep. Well said.
Thought Foreign Affairs was sold and parted out. I was wrong. I knew it was sold, and I knew it went up to the Northwest, like Washington State or something, but that's cool. It made its way back home. Okay. All right. Oh, they have a deposit on the single engine chassis.
Mm-hmm.
And is it staying in the area?
It's like one of those we've got that like deposit. We're selling it with deposit. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Pending, this is where you go to marketplace and you put it pending sold, but you don't sign the title just yet, you know.
So all kinds of breaking news here.
Yeah.
Tonight
That's what's fun about Outlawed Live. This happens more than like, this is not the first time this happened. We'll get to just, you know, chit chatting about truck and tractor pulling. And like, as the show progresses, like stuff hits the news desk and, you know, they come forth with it, or it happens while the show goes on. So we get to find out about it at the same time you as the fans do. That makes it live and unfiltered.
Oh, it is not. It's going a ways away. Doggone it. Well, the Foreign Affairs tractor is coming back, so that's another addition to the light modified.
Didn't work out.
Okay, well, Mike, thanks for doing when the smoke clears tonight on Ryan Stahl. Very cool.
So Ryan, we'll put that. Ryan, if you're watching, or if you listen the next day, or anyone knows Ryan. Ryan, we'll put that on the Outlaw Facebook page, maybe tonight or first tomorrow morning. We'll tag you, and you know, any pullers, if I've reached out to you and you want to be a featured driver on When the Smoke Clears, reach out to me, reach out to the Outlaw Facebook page. I tried to add every single Outlaw puller on Facebook. I want to feature anyone and everyone. We want to tag your social media in this, so we'll tag you, we'll put your story out there. This is a chance to highlight you guys, you put on the show. Ryan Stahl, you are the When the Smoke Clears featured outlaw of the week. We'll put you out there, tag you. If you've got a Facebook page, if you got a spooled up Facebook page, we'll tag that. All your buddies can see it.
And all other forms of social media as well.
No. I'm told that's the job. That's the goal. We're growing, pulling, and this is the big new platform where we do it.
All right, Zuck Fukerberg. Thanks for watching, Zuck. Yeah, that's, you know, I thought about something, the hero card you showed there. Are you guys going to provide those for the pullers that ask for them? I mean,
as of right now, those are just digital. Like those are
right,
just
but that as far as the, you know, using that print, you know, that the design there.
That's a higher ups question. That's a great idea. But it really is. No, I'm honestly don't like, and this goes to anyone out there. Like, I talk. That's what I get to do. And don't ask me to drive. Don't ask me for copyright production. Like those are the boss man questions.
I just foresee that as a potential question that might get asked.
I know this, that Kinsey has done a freaking rock star job. The video and their hero cards is basically what they are. They're kind of inspired after that. And we did tweak the font a little bit, and Ron, you had some, you know, input, and you were giving us some feedback on that too. So Corey Schluter, who got the first one, I feel a little bit bad because he got this really polished, nice, clean cut, and then we felt like we wanted to make it a little more outlaw, a little more Western, you know. And so our first one that we hit with that was Ryan Stahl. So, you know, maybe Corey will go back and redo his and get some of that more aggressive font on there. But yeah, ask me and I will ask the right people, or I will forward your questions to the right people. We'll ask Kinsey. We'll ask Jay. That's all Beer Money Pulling Team are the masterminds behind it. So we'll forward it to them and see what they think.
Awesome. Mike, thanks for coming on tonight. Mike Idle will be announcing with me this summer, and you'll be out on your own at some events as well, Mike.
Yep.
Great addition to the team. Look forward to it. Thank you, each and every one of the fans everyone watching tonight. Tune in next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Outlawed Live, where we know at least one of our featured guests next Tuesday night will be Schaefer Dave with Schaefer Oil and Specialized Lubricants, great Outlaw sponsor. And, of course, Mike's piece, the When the Smoke Clears. Who's going to be our featured puller next week, Mike? You can't tell, can you? You got to keep it under your hat.
I would drop a hint if I knew. Yeah, I've got to.
Oh, okay.
I've got to. Maybe that's this is this is the developing story. Tonight's it's breaking. We'll call that breaking. That news is not broke yet. I've got several. The Outlaw pullers were amazing, as they always are. They rise to the challenge. I immediately messaged 20 that I know pretty well, or I know where they're from. I kind of met quite a few people last year. So if you're ones that I've crossed paths with before, I messaged them. They almost all got back to me. And now I'm just going through and pulling one out of a hat. So next week's will be, I will probably actually send you something tomorrow and start asking for your input on it like we did this last time.
Very cool. Very cool. Thanks for doing that. Cool series. Thanks to everyone. Thank you to everyone for watching. Thanks to everyone for supporting Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pulling. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Got to get past 312.89 to take out the points leader. George Beyer sitting in the top spot. Here comes Jamie Yankee. Moving on. Oh, Mound City, Kansas. How about a nice hook for Jamie Yankee? Wasn't enough to get past the John Deere. Had to beat 312.89. The young lady goes 319.56 for the lead. Jump around. Jump around. Jump around. Folks, if you are in this crowd watching this pull tonight, if you're watching on TV, on Outlaw Pulling TV, you are watching big time pulling right now here in Mound City, Kansas. We are not joking around. They are putting on a show right now. Jamie. Maybe. Now he got down there, looked like he was going to stop, and he just pulled some extra traction out of his pocket and kept on going.
I like the way he carried that front end, and when he kind of
high stakes horsepower. Wow.
hey, maybe.
Now he got down there, looked like he was going to stop, and he just pulled some extra traction out of his pocket and kept on going.
I like the way he carried that front end, and when he kind of laid it down, he found some speed. Sometimes I like to carry that front end, and then when they put it down, they just run with it. Kind of find that torque and just say, we're not stopping yet.
Yeah, Gary's the 2021 points champion with the high stakes horsepower. Had to beat 377.69. He goes 373.95. Puts him in the number 2 spot.
Does that give us 3 deers sitting 1, 2, 3?
We're going to high stakes horsepower.